so third ultra marathon now already. Just for those of us who need catching up, remind us again which event you just did and how far it was, and then tell us a bit about how it went.
It was the Fool's Day 50K, and it was down in Ohio. It was a 50-kilometer ultra marathon, and it was by far the hardest thing I've ever done. Just the conditions were rough, a lot of mud, and so it was very difficult.
So, I mean, because I know that the last one you did, you were pretty tired at the end. So was this one even harder?
Yeah, yeah, it's a mild understatement. I went into it feeling actually pretty good. Like I thought I was going to do it about 6.5 hours, and ended up taking about 8.5. So I just came in under the cutoff of 9 hours. But like the course was just all mud, and it was rough.
It was all mud.
It was all mud. It was.
Oh man. Yeah, I've run in Catalina once before when it rained and it was all, and I don't say it was all mud. It was just really, what I found was that the hard compacted ground underneath with the light dust on top that was now wet just turned into like an ice skate rink. And if you run uphill, you have zero traction. It's really tough.
Oh, yeah. I was like Bambi on ice. It was pretty rough.
That's awful.
Yeah.
It's the fact you're not having much luck with this. Like your first one was minus 30 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And now it was rain and mud.
You know, it's funny though that first one really set me up for success in the fact that this one started at like 25 degrees.
Right.
But I did it in shorts.
Yeah.
I mean, it was anything is warm compared to that. So
yeah,
I'm finding that every struggle I go through, the next time I come up to something like that, it's not really a big deal.
Right.
And so, so I'm sure the next one I see that'll be a mudslide, I'll be okay.
Anything that saying about what doesn't kill you makes you stronger kind of seems to
exactly
be true, right? Okay, that's awesome. What about your nutrition and stuff like that? What did you take along the way? Because I know at the time you were a little concerned that maybe you weren't feeling well, and I know you had some ideas. So tell us a bit.
Yeah, I in essence, I realized that last time I probably took about 2,000 calories, and I burned about 8,000. And so with this one, I went through and I almost tripled those calories. And so a lot of F-bomb, pretty much 10 packets of F-bomb.
Right.
And then I had half a keto brick from Robert Sykes from Keto Savage sent me a keto brick.
All right.
So I took half that.
Can you explain a little bit about what that is? Because I don't even know if I've even heard about that. What?
It's literally a brick of keto friendly. I mean, it's 1,000-calorie brick.
Okay.
It tastes a bit like coffee, and so I be honest with you, I haven't even looked at the ingredients of it.
I'm assuming it's a bit easier to eat than a brick, though, right?
I sent him some feedback. I sent him some feedback, and because it was so cold, I was struggling to break it apart. I mean, it literally looks like a brick. It's good. It tastes good, but I think if it was broken down smaller and like a Hershey bar, it's like a chocolate bar, you could break it down like that. It would be a lot better.
Right. Okay.
But, it was good fuel. And then the other thing I had done is I had taken Generation UCAN for the race, and then halfway through.
Okay, so you did take it once more, because theoretically that's supposed to last for 8 hours, but you take it before you start, like a while before you start, and you're doing 8.5 hours on the road.
Yeah,
the 8 hour limit of.
Yeah, I felt like it if anything, it was a mental boost. And I did take a lot. I probably went through a serving and a half total between the two. The two like 400 milliliter bottles I had
Uh-huh.
um, that I put in there. So it wasn't as a lot, but I definitely could feel the difference. Um, but I mean, at points in the course, especially as the race went on, the first lap the ground was frozen, and so I actually went through the first 8 miles. I did like an hour 15. I mean, I went through really quick. And then the second one, the course was thawing, and there's other shorter races starting. And by the third lap, I mean, there's parts where I was literally crawling, and sliding on my butt, just based on the hills and the traction. And so,
Stuff. Wow.
yeah, I did the final 8 with trekking poles. So,
Right. So, on a positive note, what's the next one? Maybe you get some better luck with the weather next time. What's your next one? It's later.
well, I'm doing a marathon next week. Next weekend, I'm doing a Martian marathon, and then I'm doing like another 5K on top of that. So I'm going to run a marathon, and then I'm going to run another race immediately following that with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So that's easy.
That's how you're going to make up the extra.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
and then at the end of the month there's a couple other ones that I might do as well. Just 'cause I enjoy them. I enjoy the pain.
Okay.
So
So, what's the weather? Is there a prediction yet of what?
cold.
Rain?
We just it's weird. The weather in Michigan is weird. Spring, so it should be in the 50s and 60s, but we hit a cold streak, and it's supposed to snow here tomorrow and be in like the 20s and 30s for the next week and a half. So,
Oh, wow.
but I'm used to it. So it's better than -5.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, if you're doing this for the whole year, at some point you're going to have something that has warmer weather, right?
I'm just gonna go farther north, so that way I can just stay in the cold.
Just stay in the cold the whole time. All right, so sorry. Say again the place, the region where it is.
This one's here in Detroit,
Oh,
and
it's right.
so
It's close by.
yeah, so we actually have quite a few over the next several months. There's quite a few ultras. I mean, within a half hour of me. So I'm not gonna take for granted the train because I'm sure they'll find something pretty rough. But I said the last two I've done in Ohio, if you look at the Google Maps, it just looks like a big forest. But if
Uh-huh.
you remove the trees, it would look like the Grand Canyon. I mean, it was
Wow.
pretty rough climbs. So with this one, it'll be hopefully won't be as bad.
Okay,
So,
awesome. Great job, man. And I know I feel for you trying to slip and slide in the mud, and, especially when you get really tired. It's a most horrendous feeling. So
yeah.
getting through once again another hardship, and no one ever said it would be easy, right? And I mean, part of what you're trying to show is that you're capable of doing all of this in what's turning out to be some of the worst conditions. And a year ago, you could hardly move. So a year and a half ago.
No. Yeah, the easy part's been losing the weight. In all honesty, that's been the easiest part.
Uh,
Uh,
no,
it's
that's awesome. And yeah, we'll hook up again after the next one and get some more feedback.
yeah, for sure.
Just before we go, Pam was telling me that you were talking about something, a podcast or something, some new stuff that you've introduced. I know when I looked a couple of days ago at your website, the Arsenal of Hope,
Hmm.
it told me there was under construction. So I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a fleeting thing or whether it's really the case. How
Um,
else can people follow you? Have you got a Facebook page going now? I see you on Instagram and some kind of podcast. So tell everybody all the different ways that they could follow you.
just right now with the podcast at Arsenal of Hope is the podcast, and it's just kind of chronicling my journey. And then that's pretty much the best place.
So the main way people can follow you right now is on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Pam was just asking what the access was. How do you access the podcast?
Oh, it's on iTunes and Google Play.
Google Play or what's it? Stitcher is the other one that I know.
Stitcher, yeah, yeah. Just look at Arsenal of Hope and you can find it.
Okay. All right. Cool.